Hi everyone, thanks for coming back to my channel. It's Tina, and I always like to ask you to picture what financial freedom looks like to you, and we can talk about ways to get there. Back in October, I recorded a video about my 2020 goal categories and my Erin Condren planner. And in my prior video, I recorded a 2019 year in review. I looked at what were the accomplishments that I had, what were the goals that I did not have success with, and how did my priorities shift throughout the year. In this video, I want to use the information, the awareness that I grew about myself, my nature, and my desires in life from 2019, combine that with the prior goal categories I had established back in that October video, and come up with my final 2020 goals. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how I've updated those goals so that you can see the evolution of goal setting for me. Okay guys, so here are my final goals for 2020. I'll walk through the categories so that you can see them and give a little bit of insight on each one. The first category is the family trips or travel. You can see I've added a couple of items and I moved when we would pursue the New York/Connecticut trip. Lake Powell and Nashville I think will be really inexpensive trips for us. Nashville is just a short road trip away, and Lake Powell is where we would be staying with family friends. New York and Disney will be more expensive, so those I spaced out, put them a little bit further into the year so that we can be better prepared for them. For spiritual goals, I really haven't changed those at all. They're the same as before. Although I will say that in terms of finding a Torah study guide, I didn't find one. Honestly, when I was looking for them, I became overwhelmed. So instead what I did was I found a graphic that explained which Torah verses aligned with the 10 commandments, and so I'll show you how I space that out throughout the year and how I'm going to tackle that. For financial and social, I left them pretty much the same, except for with financial, instead of doing $5,000 to each 529 account, we decided to do $10,000 to Vanguard. After a variety of conversations and a bit of research, my husband and I decided that we will forego the 529 accounts and instead focus on just increasing our investments as a whole. And then for social, I don't believe that we've changed that at all, except for I did modify the ladies' lunch and coffees to also include a study group because I was invited to join a couple study groups, and I think that would be a great way for me to also socialize. For intellectual and physical, the intellectual hasn't changed at all. And for physical, I did modify it to get rid of the quarterly facials and instead pursue retinol. I've done quite a bit of research on anti-aging. I followed a few YouTubers who've given me some insight, and one of them in particular I've really enjoyed, so I will link her channel for you guys. Her name is Dr. Sam Bunting, and she is a dermatologist. And I just, the more I looked into it, the more I thought it's time for me to pursue retinol. So that is what I put in place of quarterly facials. Okay, and then for YouTube and coaching and advising, YouTube is pretty well the same, although I am kind of questioning, could that become an income stream in 2021? I find it super unlikely that it will be in 2020 because it requires 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which I am desperately far away from, but I hope to make a lot of progress in the coming year. And then for coaching and advising, it's the website and the testimonials I want to keep intact, but also as I was researching things that I had reviewed with my coaching program, the Financial Coach Master Training program that I'd taken, I had seen that I made lists of some really great action items that I never followed up on because life got in the way. So I'm making myself go back, tackle those action items, and then when I logged into the coaching program, I saw that there was actually more content out there. So I'm going to make sure that I take that additional content prior to my participation in FCMT expiring in March. For duplex, that is actually that's an entirely new category. So we are really just wanting to keep it rented. We've had some really great tenants in there and I feel super fortunate. However, we do want to formalize the landlord forms and processes. Both tenants have expressed that they would want to move on at some point. Our duplex is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath on both sides. So the one family that's in there, they're just a young married couple, and I think at some point they're going to want to buy a house. And then the other group that's in there, the other family that's in there, they are 2 adults and 2 children, so it's a tight fit for them. And while I think they appreciate that they can have their dog there in a fenced yard, they also know that they're outgrowing the space. So in order to be prepared when they're ready to vacate the property, we want to make sure we've formalized sort of like the outgoing processes and the intake processes for new tenants, because this being our first investment property, we really were winging it the first go round. And then for home updates, I think the last thing is to paint the basement. I think these might have been the same as what I shared previously. The kids activity is the same, but I also added serve community. I added this because I am in the process of completing the School of Affluence program by Anna Bay. The ideas of branding yourself, the ideas of improving yourself, the ideas of personal development, and the ideas of rubbing shoulders with more affluent people. This is something I really want to do, especially as I consider a career shift into financial advising or entrepreneurship. You really have to take account of the idea that your network is your net worth. And here I've just turned the page into the January section, and I wanted to show you how I'm using a couple of these spreads. So the first thing is in Think Ahead, I'm specifying a month ahead of time. So I wrote these down in December, things I want to do to progress my goals. For the Nashville trip, I need to confirm on the school calendar when spring break is, and I need to actually book the trip so that it's set in stone. I'll probably just use booking.com for that. I need to select a couch to 5K plan. So even though I had been jogging consistently in 2019, I will be candid in saying that I fell off the wagon in mid-November and really did not pursue it I have not run at all in probably a month and a half or 2 months. I'm probably starting at 0 again. I want to do some client check-ins for the few clients that I have and make sure that I obtain their testimonials. And then I also want to, by the way, that card is there to hide their names. I just want to be discreet. But then I also want to read a couple of books. And so I've listed some book ideas there that one of them I've already started, and the other one, so She Prays, I started as part of that study group that I was asked to join. And then for Proximity Principle or Entrepreneurial You, I'm leaning toward Entrepreneurial New. I've had that book longer, and it's really more in the spirit of what I'm looking to accomplish this year. So kind of kick the year off right. And then over here, I think much of this is the same. Sorry for the shaky camera. But I will say that I did decide to modify my monthly budget. It says for 529 accounts, but I wanted to note that I did decide on Vanguard instead. I want to complete my YouTube analytics for Q4 and make sure that I'm putting content out that is suitable for my channel and that people are interested in, as well as what I'm interested in. Continue to post videos, and then define my tenant intake process. That's going to be the most important goal for the duplex this month. And then also I wanted to call out intermittent fasting. This is one thing for my physical goals that that did change. I didn't previously make note of that on my major goals category page, but I am committed to doing intermittent fasting. As I did research, I got to be candid with you guys. I'm so tired of calorie counting. So I decided that I would do intermittent fasting instead. I'm going to stick to the 16-8 window on weekdays and then try 1 day per week, although realistically it'll probably be 1 day every other week, to do a liquids only day. And this will be my approach to tackling, those benefits of restricting. Well, I won't go into it in full detail, but if you are curious about intermittent fasting, there's a fabulous book out there. I believe it's called The Obesity Code. I will link it in the description box for you guys, but it sounds pretty amazing to me, and I've seen the benefits on a plethora of YouTube channels that give updates on how they're doing with it. So I'm really excited about that, and I've already started it. I started on January 1st, and I look forward to seeing the progress that I make. And then there's the kids' activities that I've already discussed in the past. And for my physical goals, I'm just going to keep note of the days I exercised, the days I did intermittent fasting, and then the days that I was food-free. And then the last thing I want to show you is my monthly spread. The thing that's noteworthy here is that I mentioned previously for my Taurus study, I wanted to focus on those verses that are in support of the Ten Commandments, I saw a great graphic by Doreen Virtue that I copied down. And essentially, every month I'm going to focus on those verses that are in support of, one of the Ten Commandments. I'm just really curious about God's law. And I know that, as a born again Christian, it's really the embracing of Jesus that saves you, and recognition that he died for our sins and that he was the perfect sacrifice. That said, I do also really believe there's power in knowing the whole Bible, and so it's my goal to better understand the Ten Commandments and the aspects of God's law that are related to that. All right, everyone, now that you've seen how I've updated my 2020 goals and updated my Erin Condren planner, I hope that you've got some more insight again on how the evolution of goals works for me. Good luck in the new year. I'm always so excited about the new year because it is a fresh start for a new you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, comment, and share, and I'll see you in the next video.